What's going on? Show us the hat. Tell us a little bit about the hat. What's the inspiration? We can't hear you, BC.
Your mic is muted.
Your mic is muted.
Isn't on.
Oh my goodness, BC. Oh, this is all bad.
Guys, hello. Can you?
Hi,
hear me
can hear you now.
It's better.
Right, what's up, y'all? What's up?
We want to know about this hat. Inspiration behind this hat.
No inspiration. This is a hat by Rude.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's $1,000 hat, guys.
Right, I'm gonna say it's close to it. A little slight flex on this nice.
Look, he said rude.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you buy that hat just for this show? Did you go out this weekend and go hat shopping?
Definitely not. This is something I just pull out just pull it out the stash. Come on.
BC. What do they say where we're from? Talk to me nice, baby. Don't talk to me twice. You know.
All right, we got a good show. Let's get into it now. There's 9 new members were added to the Pro Football Hall of Fame last week. So of course we're going to dive into that conversation. And All-Pro guard Zach Martin of the Dallas Cowboys has accumulated a massive amount of fines. So we want to dive into that conversation a little bit later, see how that situation ends out. But we have to start with what went on this weekend. It was a big weekend of fights, was it not?
Oh my goodness!
It seemed like they was fighting in almost every sport. It was boxing, MMA, MLB,
boating.
Right. There were some fights down there in Montgomery, Alabama at the
That's
Riverfront.
why we're all dressed in black.
Right.
I know. Yeah, it's a funeral for all those who touched the pavement this weekend.
Ashley, what was your favorite fight of the weekend? Before we dive in.
I don't want to be toxic, but it was the Montgomery Brawl. That was my favorite. Tim Anderson was second, but the only reason we'll dive into it. But the only reason that doesn't get my #1 pick was because it was a lucky hit from Jose Ramirez.
That's right. Yeah,
it wasn't a clean punch. He swung crazily, almost with his eyes closed, and it made contact.
Right.
He got lucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the other one, the Montgomery Brawl, they had their sets up. They were throwing hands, chairs, everything. We'll dive into it, but that got my vote. The voting fight got my #1.
Let's say the
I didn't watch Jake Paul, like I said. I knew I wasn't gonna. So
you didn't miss anything.
I know Drake lost money, so
$250,000.
Yeah, because he put money on Nate. Well, let's start there, right? Jake Paul, he beat Nate Diaz by unanimous decision over the weekend. Ashley, I know you said you didn't watch it, but if
I saw the clips.
So look, the fight, it was entertaining. But if you're a boxing advocate, if you really like boxing, it might have fell a little bit short. But, Jake Paul did his thing. And then after the fight, they actually said that they're going to run it back, but in an MMA fight.
Potentially,
Brandon, how do you see that turn out? Brandon, did you get a chance to watch the fight?
Yeah, I absolutely watched it. They got me. And I'm on the fence if I'm going to continue to watch these fights, right? Like, was it entertaining? It was entertaining. Like it. When I hear about Jake Paul fighting, it's like, okay, what is he going to do? Like, I love the storyline. Ashley, I keep saying this every opportunity I get. I love storylines. And so for me, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson said it. He brought back boxing. Boxing was dead. Your sport, UFC, has been the kings for 10 years. No, not 10 years. About 5 years.
About 5 years.
6 years, right?
Around 2016.
Yeah, you gotta give respect to Jake Paul and his brother for not only highlighting boxing but combat sports, and that's what I'm following. Like, I'm following that storyline. I'm following, like, what is he going to wear? Who's coming out with him? As far as what rapper, what musician? Is he coming in the tank? Does he got the big old gladiator person? Not the gladiator, but the robot, transformer.
He walked out with Dirk.
Right? He walked out with Dirk. So it's like entertaining, but the fight itself, I was disappointed. Like Nate Diaz in the first round, you saw that he had no punching power, that he wasn't taking it serious. Hell, the dude was training. There was clips of him training 2-3 weeks ago with a cigarette in his mouth. So I was disappointed in the actual fight. I felt like he should have knocked him out. So I'm probably not watching Jake Paul and Nate Diaz too. I don't care if it's in the ring or if it's in the octagon.
I told you it was a waste of $40.
I know. No, it's more than $40.
How much was it?
It was $60, but I also got locked in to $250 for the DAZN. DAZN yearly membership. So that's how they get you. Oh, wow. So I went to go get the pay-per-view. I was like, bet, $49.99, no problem. So boom, I'm paying the $49.99, but also they make you pay like $11 for the first month. And then now I'm locked in for the next year. I couldn't even get out of it. After the fight, I went like, cancel membership.
You could have spent that money on an Apple TV MLS package and watch Messi have magic once again.
Right.
But, that was an incredible match last night, by the way, if anyone
Still
watched
doing his
it.
thing.
Still doing his thing.
Why didn't you put it in a rundown in the news if it was so good?
Because I'm tired of being the only one to talk about Messi on this channel. And everyone telling me he's washed, even though every single match he has multiple goals or at least
Who is
one
he playing
goal.
against? No, with all due respect,
Last
though,
night it was against Dallas.
Like it's like Messi was over there, playing in at PSG and other places.
You have to watch it to appreciate it. It's absolutely incredible what he is doing, though.
That's like the NBA, and now this is like the G League.
Yes, it's not the Premier League, but that doesn't take away from.
It might be the big three.
You have to stop it. You have to also think of it before we move on to the next thing, Corey, real quick. Like you have to also think about like this. Messi's fresh off of his own season.
Yeah.
So he's coming in the middle of the MLS season. Which means like he hasn't had a full off season. One, he's coming in the middle of the MLS season and he's still playing at a high level and he's 35 years old. Just put all those
None
things.
Of that.
Corey saw him in
matters.
person. He knows. Corey, I know you know.
None of that matters. In the middle of
matters.
his season, he's in mid-season shape.
No, he's
form.
technically in off-season form. His off-season is now technically he's
Like
been
the
playing
MLS
in.
So you're saying he's tired?
No, what I'm saying is you have to remember the MLS season and Premier League and all those stuff and all those other leagues, like they're not always aligned. So he's coming in the middle of this season when technically his body is in the off season. It's very impressive.
Oh, okay.
Corey knows. He saw it.
I did. First hand. All right, now let's move on to this second fight. Now, this one honestly had me laughing, if we being honest. The second fight that we saw this weekend took place between Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson. So this was the Guardians versus the White Sox. Jose Ramirez was sliding into second base, and Tim Anderson, I believe, is the second baseman. And I don't know if there were words exchanged.
There
I'm
were.
not
There
sure.
were words
Yeah.
exchanged.
I'm not sure what those words were exactly.
Woo!
But yeah, fists ended up started flying. So Anderson.
Do we have the video?
We can't really show the video. Yeah. But we do have a video of Anderson walking away. Like a fawn with
Post
with
fight. This is the post fight.
Exactly. Yeah. So we got a video of him post fight when he was walking away. Like
He's
I said,
still talking.
like a newborn deer right now
And
with
baby
legs.
legs.
No, I don't think that's the case.
You don't
So
think that,
listen,
you don't think that's
like,
what you're saying?
watch
right
this,
here?
bro. Come on.
I mean, he can't even walk.
No, that's
Yeah.
see, y'all
Are they
don't
trying
be
to hold
paying
him back?
attention. Yes, Ashley. How many times have we been? I don't know. Ashley, have you ever been in a fight, street fight?
Hold on, that's him getting held
No.
I
back.
can't confirm nor deny.
No,
That's
you
him getting
haven't.
held back, though?
Woo, have you ever been in a street fight?
Yes, two.
All right, Corey, have you been in a street fight?
I haven't been in a scrap.
BC, you haven't?
Haven't. Only,
Oh, my goodness.
Only on like the football, and we play fights. so
Okay,
it's like,
that's
you
cool.
know.
BC, have you ever been in a street fight?
1 or 2.
1 or 2. Okay, I used to average like 2 a year. Up until till I got to the
What's your
league.
record?
It stopped.
14-6.
I took 1 L because a dude hit me like Ramirez.
Damn.
Freaking Omar hit me like Ramirez. I told y'all the story. Remember, I think I told y'all the story.
Omar Kelly?
It was in college.
Not Omar Kelly.
Right.
If I let Omar do that, it's like, no, please. No, so.
Oh, you did tell us that story. Yes.
you did.
Right, like he
Yeah.
threw the overhand right, but basically, if you look at that video, the reason why I brought that up is because when dudes try to hold you back, you see him trying to push. He's trying to get his way there. He knows he took a major L. He knows, like, yo, I have to find a way to get to him right now and get it right now, right? Because that is what he's going to be remembered as from. People are just it's Twitter.
That's not the only thing. He's having a tough year.
What? That's the same dude
the
that
same
got
guy.
the.
He got a couple situations
Yeah,
with his couple women.
That's what I thought.
He's having a tough year. He can't wait for
I
2024.
thought this was the same.
Oh, okay.
It's just the icing on the cake for Tim Anderson. But yeah, Ramirez had a lucky hit. Like, it looks really funny in slow motion because Anderson did go night-night. But if you look at the way, like, Ramirez has a closed fist. His eyes are closed. It's not even like he's not even actually hitting him.
Right.
It's like he's almost like swinging it at him like this, eyes
Right.
closed kind of thing, like a clobber.
Shot in the dark, pun intended.
And then literally a shot in the dark. His eyes are closed. And then what makes it even funnier about the whole situation, Anderson falls, but when he's falling, his teammate is standing next to him.
yeah.
and steps to the side.
Lets him
Doesn't
fall.
even try to
Doesn't even catch
catch his man's as he's hitting the ground. He stands to the side of him and watches him hit the ground. It's like, bro, catch me.
Right.
Help. Wasn't Kevin Hart
Trust
thing?
falls.
Help me. Help me.
So, Ashley, let me ask you a question. So do you respect Ramirez knockout?
I respect it because, listen, in a fight, a knockout is a knockout. It doesn't
Right.
matter how you get it. Like, in a fight, you just throw swings and punches and whatever hits. Like, you're not in a fight, like, really thinking about, like, at least, let me rephrase. You're not in a street fight or just a
There you
heat of the
go.
moment fight thinking about form. Like, oh, I gotta have my... No, you're thinking about, like, let me throw whatever's going to hit.
So if you're Tim Anderson, do you look at this and say, you know what, my pride is shattered? Or do you look at this and say it was a lucky punch? And you,
It's a combination of both, but if I'm Tim Anderson, I'm more heated at my teammate than I am at Ramirez. Like, how did you just stand next and watch me fall?
oh no, you tripping? I don't care about that. I'm
Like,
not
because
here.
listen, a lucky hit is a lucky hit. Like, there's nothing you can do about that.
actually-
Like, whatever. You watch me hit the ground.
No. You should
That's
be mad
what
at
made
the other teammate. I thought you was gonna say the other teammate. What? Put the picture back up there.
What other teammate?
Throw the picture back up. Number
So
3 or
three?
34,
Number three.
whatever.
You blame
So
three.
this punch is actually more significant than we think
He was
because
trying
he's
to-
actually
no.
he's actually being punched. He's actually being punched while being held back.
Yeah.
So this is a
He got-
brilliant hit.
No, it's
But-
because 3 is holding him from the opposite side. He swung with the opposite
know,
hand. He
I
was
know.
trying to pull him back.
No, but what I'm saying is, no, don't try to pull him back. Pull him back.
He's trying, but
Yeah, right.
the
He said, "Don't
timing was
try to
off.
pull him."
My thing is like the hit. But here's the thing: if Ramirez hit him in the face like that,
Yeah.
and Anderson never hit the ground, it doesn't have the same effect.
That's right.
My teammate should have stopped me from going night-night. Like, you were right there. If you would have caught me and I just took it, because, like, if you watch it, it didn't, it struck him off balance, but
he
it didn't
caught
really,
him.
but
He
it
caught him
didn't
on the
really,
button.
like, he kind of ate it also, if that makes sense.
don't
Like,
know.
no, it kind of
He
did.
kind of
No, he did not eat it. He
did
went
not.
and ate the
No.
ground.
He ate
Watch,
What are you
no,
talking
if you
He
watch
ate it
his,
and went
if
to
you look
sleep.
at his face, it didn't really like, you know when you see a
No,
punch in
but-
slow motion, how it goes.
That's not eating it.
Well, yeah,
Like that.
Eating is when you
Eat it and you come right back.
yeah,
with it.
you don't fall. You don't
Yes,
fall.
but what I'm saying is like it didn't make a severe impact to his face to the point like I think if his teammate would have caught him, he probably could have gotten another jab in. His teammate
guess.
watched him fall in
No,
slow motion.
I want to ask the fellas right now in the room
Right.
in BC.
Oh dang! Another.
You already know. No,
another-
I'm
what
gonna
is
just
it?
ask them because I think this is a
Sexist?
I
Another-
guess.
Another
It's
sexist
kind of
comment.
Whatever.
Ask the
Screw
fellas.
you, Andrew. Go ahead.
I don't know if this happens in fights for you, Ashley, but one of the golden rules in male fights is you got to be ready to fight the dude that you hold back. You feel me? Because if you grab him, he think you setting him up to get knocked out now because you grabbing his arms.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
like, I've been there. You get what I'm saying? Almost had to square up with a guy that was my friend.
Yeah.
Until we like kind of recognized
Yeah,
each other
right.
for a little bit. But it's like you trying to help, but at the same time, I don't know if buddy number 3, if that's what he was doing, but
Yeah.
that's like a golden rule in fighting.
Right.
You hold me. Now we fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's when things get out of hand and it's out of control, and especially when, you know, both dugouts clear out and everybody's out there. You know, majority of the time, probably 9 times out of 10, everybody's going out there to be out there to say they were out there, but they're not. They're trying to break it up, right? So I can't get crazy.
All I know
I'll
is
say
my
this.
teammate who let me hit the ground, I'm fighting him in the locker room.
Yeah, but he was already knocked out, Ashley. As soon as he got hit, he was done.
Why did you? But me, don't let me hit the floor. Like,
Right.
catch me so I can like. All right, I'm up. Like, don't let me hit the floor.
There was somebody
You're
on
supposed
Twitter.
to be on my side,
Right,
dog.
right.
Everybody was in shock, man.
There was somebody on Twitter. I read a comment. Last thing I would say to this, and this is Ashley Nicole Moss. I gave it to you first.
Thank you.
Right. Ashley Nicole Moss, Brandon Marshall, Woo Out West, Corey in the cut, BC in the booth, and you'll never see Mander Legend. Maybe a hand like we did last week. Faction Talk Channel 103, Sirius XM. I read something on Twitter where somebody said, he was like, yo, my grandfather taught me this when I was young, right? Because if you go back and you watch the film, for everybody, you know, out there who haven't seen it, go watch the film. And if you've seen it, go watch the film again and watch what happened. And this is where Tim Anderson went wrong. Tim Anderson, you know, on the onset, like, it's like, oh, yo, he's the better fighter because he had a nice little position, nice posture, nice setup, right? Like, he looked like a fighter. Other dude looked like a street fighter. So you're looking at Tim like, oh, he got the upside. But in a street fight, anything goes. You got to be ready to be bitten. You got to be ready for somebody to throw something in your face, right? And he wasn't. And that's where he went wrong. Like, he went up there trying to really square up. And that's where I went wrong with Omar, Ashley. Like, he hit me the same way. Like, I promise you.
Didn't see it coming.
Look at the draw.
But I ain't fall. I ain't get knocked out. I ain't get knocked out. It would we rumbled now.
Yeah.
We rumbled, but like he got the solid hit. We were just grabbing. It was like, you know, a couple jabs here and there. People got in the way, but he had the power shot.
Yeah.
He had the power shot. And I was
you
rocked.
had that get back though. Didn't you have that?
No, that
back?
was the get back.
Oh, okay.
So he hit me. So he hit me in the
that
locker
was
room with
the
my
get
head
back.
down. He snuck me. Boom. All this was swole. Right? So I ran down to the field afterwards, right? Once I came to, like, what the hell just happened? Omar, da-da-da-da. So I ran all the way down to the field. And as soon as I got out there, all the coaches, teammates, everybody pulled me apart. And my pops came to the facility, like, I was ready. I was on it right now. Like, let's go. And my pops, he old school from the street. He was like, this what you do, son. He was like, you wait until he's not expecting it. It could take a couple weeks. It could take a couple months. It might be a year. It took me 3 months to get that get back. So 3 months. So boom, we coming out of the dormitories, right? So I'm with Darcy J. Me and Darcy Johnson, we going to the Delta skating party. I'm not even thinking about Omar right now. Boom, this is my partner, my best friend. He know the situation. I don't know, he must have forgot. So then I'm like, all right, let's go. He like, we gotta wait a couple minutes because Omar's coming. He's following us. Like, what? What do you mean Omar's following us and he's rolling with us? What are you talking about? So Omar gets in the next car next to us, and now he's following. So the whole trip there, Darcy don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like heated. Boom. Soon as we park, soon as we get outside the skating ring, we park. Boom. I jump out. He's still in the passenger seat. I said, yo, I need that fade, bruh. And he look at me laughing. He. Well, I hit him, and if I bam,
dressed up and everything, right?
Oh yeah, yes. And now I'm straddling him. I'm in the passenger seat on, like yeah. And everybody like, all right, get up. Yo. Like get a fair fade. So now we square up. He took off his belt. This is what I mean by the street fight. Sorry to be so long-winded here, but this is what I mean by a street fight. So now I'm set up like I'm ready. He took off his belt. Now I'm fighting the dude with a belt buckle. He doing all of this, so I'm dodging, doing all of that. And then how he got me, Ashley, he went all the way down to the ground. Never seen nothing like this in a street fight. Dude went all the way down to the ground. Like in football, we say ass to the grass. Like he was down, like what? And then he came over with his overhand right, just like Ramirez did. Bam, hit me. I said, ooh, I just grabbed him. I grabbed him like,
Well, you know who else wasn't expecting a fight to happen? The people on the Montgomery dock.
Yeah.
He absolutely wasn't.
Corey, we have that video
This is
before
Ashley's
we dissect
favorite one.
it. This is my favorite
got
video
the-
of the weekend. This may be a toxic trait of mine, but I had watched this video at least 10 times since it came out.
Yeah,
are
we
we
actually
gonna
got the
watch
film
the
of this
video
one.
and then I can like share my favorite part?
That's exactly
okay.
what we're talking about.
Here we go.
Okay.
This
Come
is
on,
at
give
the
us the commentary.
Riverfront
All right,
in
so check
Montgomery,
it.
Alabama.
Homeboy, white guy, starts picking a fight with the black security guard. He's swinging. His homies start entering. They all want a piece of the action. This guy's fighting now, 5 guys by himself, 6 guys, 7 guys, 8 guys. He's solo dolo. But not for long, because his fellow brothers, one comes running down the dock. Oh, you
Trying
want
to be
some?
nice guy. No,
Here
he's trying to be
I am.
nice guy,
He's
trying to break it up.
But the kicker is the man who swam in the lake to get some action. He
Yo.
is swimming to the end of the dock at record speed. I want to see him against Michael Phelps because I think he might have beaten him. He is literally swimming for his life, gets to the edge of the dock, pulls himself out soaking wet. Look at the strength. Look at the strength.
Yeah, that's hard. People don't understand.
Not
Soaking
easy,
wet,
not
that's
wet,
hard.
Takes his shoes off and says, it's go time. Y'all want some? I got some for you. Now it's on, but it's not over. The homies pull up. Now we got a squad.
Now
He
it's
said,
even.
oh, you thought we forgot?
Now
Now
it's
it's
even.
even.
Left hook.
What's good? And the fight just go. It looked
Yeah.
like the Avengers Endgame. This is like the black version of the Avengers.
Wow, this was
Jeez.
unbelievable. But I will say this.
Everyone's getting a piece of
They got
action.
active.
Listen, racial tension was soaring, and then on the Twitter land and social media, everybody's talking about this and really having fun with it. You know, this isn't like I mean, it's a serious matter.
There were chairs being used as weapons.
But this is what I would say. All right, the black security guard was outnumbered from the jump. And then all of a sudden, like, he got 5, 6, 7 people surrounding him.
Yeah.
Right?
Look,
then
he's
all of a
gouging
sudden,
his eyes out.
you had all these black folks come. All right? And I have to say this. Mad respect to the white people. And the reason why is because they were still coming.
Yeah,
They're outnumbered. There's 7, 8 of them, 3, 4 women. And then they still kept coming. Look at them. They not giving up. They not
Look
retreating.
at the guy with the folding chair.
Yo,
Look, but he's still fighting. Look. He won't stop.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's not done. Oh, my goodness. All right, look. Oh, my goodness. We don't condone this. We don't condone this. We don't condone this, but this is a hot topic right now. Listen, people, we got to respect each other. You know, Omar didn't respect me. I didn't respect Omar 3 months later, but I learned from that situation, I think, kind of. And they got to learn from this situation here, too. So we don't condone this, but it is a hot topic that we have to discuss.
Now, we don't know how it started, but Montgomery, Alabama is, the deep, deep South. There is a lot of racial underlining issues there. It's safe to assume that that's how this started. I would assume that something racial was kind of the catalyst for this situation. There are other videos of them, of people adding the music to that song that song that went viral on the internet because it was like the small town. It was like a country song, and it was like the music. What's the artist's name? Jason Aldean. He had a music video that was basically like, don't try that in our small town. And it showed all like the rioting and people like fighting back, protecting their small town.
And he was under a lot of fire for the song being racist.
For inciting racism and things like that. So there were videos that had that in the background and things like that. So although the video itself is entertaining to a degree and all the jokes and stuff that come from it, the underlining issue is very unfortunate. And, hopefully nobody was seriously injured. Don't want anybody, to get seriously hurt or worse. But there has been a lot of racial tension in that area. So it's safe to assume that that's probably how it started. Right. And it's unfortunate that in 2023, that's still something that communities and cities are dealing with. So
that's right. Yeah. Well, shout out to both sides. They stuck together. That's rare.
Would you guys do that? Would you guys jump? Yeah,
like because listen,
would you swim across the lake?
Yeah, listen. I mean, for me, the reason why I said that is because it's like, who are you doing life with, right? Like, who can you take into a foxhole? Something jump off like this, right now, boom, woo, you rolling with me?
I'm rolling.
You know what I'm saying? Corey, you rolling with me? You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So like, you got to look at who you doing life with, because life could be hard. A lot of things could happen. And sometimes people turn their back on you. There might be some people in this film, like after this, there might be some people, on both sides who's like, yo, where were you? Why you ain't jump in? Why you ain't help? Yeah. Why you ain't help? Friendships, families, broken. Yeah. Because of street fights. Look at this. You let this guy hit me in the head with a chair? Right there. If you were here, this wouldn't have happened. But shout out to this guy. This dude should really consider MMA, WWE, because he was unfaded. They hit him 20 times. Yeah. And actually, he didn't fold.
I will say, the guy who swam across the lake and pulled himself out, first of all, you don't understand the endurance that takes. You have to swim, the commitment, the strength to pull yourself out. Your body is like 10 times heavier when you're soaking wet. Yeah. So the upper body strength alone. But I just want to go ahead and put that out there. That goes ahead against every, stereotype that black people can't swim. He swam from across the lake and pulled himself. No idea. Did he jump off his own boat? Was he on the other side of the dock? I have so many questions about where he came from. But like, there was something on Twitter, like, our ancestors must be so proud because we got people swimming to help their brother and sister out in a fight. Man.
Right. And listen, and while we're on this topic, Ash, I saw you tweet about this and like quote tweet where you're just like, oh, I didn't take that. I didn't get that from that. And I'm talking about Jamie Foxx, right?
Yes.
It's like there's things, different trends and different, how do I say this? I don't know the right word, but from culture to culture, people say things and do things differently. So in our community, we'll go out there, in the black community, we'll go out there and say, you know, like, man, they turned on Jesus, they'll turn on you, right? And like what we're saying there is like, beware of your friends, et cetera, et cetera. So Jamie Foxx went out there, tweeted what he tweeted, right? And then it was Jennifer Aniston that took it as anti-Semitic.
No, she basically, long story short, was Jamie Foxx put out a statement saying they killed Jesus. What do you think they would do to you? Hashtag fake friends. And that's a very loose, that may not be verbatim what he said, but it was along those
close.
lines. He was referring to how basically you can't trust people, even people that are closest to you. Jennifer Aniston had liked the post, an account, I guess, that tracks like anti-Semitic like rhetoric or whatever on the internet, posted about how this was an anti-Semitic tweet. Jennifer Aniston then catches wind, I guess, of this account claiming that Jamie Foxx's thing was anti-Semitic, and you could clearly see that she had liked the post because she, like everybody else, didn't think anything of it, and then went on this whole like backtracking, like, oh, I'm not anti-Semitic, I don't believe in that, I don't condone that. But it's like, you didn't think it was anti-Semitic when you liked it, and you only thought it was anti-Semitic when somebody tried to make it into something that it wasn't, and now you're trying to backtrack and make it seem like it was just very messy.
I could actually read it verbatim. Jamie Foxx originally said, they killed this dude named Jesus. What do you think they'll do to you? Hashtag fake friends, hashtag fake love. Then Jennifer Aniston responded with, this really makes me sick. I did not like this post on purpose or by accident. And more importantly, I want to be clear. Basically, she's like Ashley said, she's pulling back. But I don't know why you would say I did not like this post.
No, she said I didn't like it, nor I didn't like it, nor not like it. I was like, so what's the third option?
Yeah, she said that?
She said I didn't like it or not like it. I'm confused on the third option there. So then what's like? Yeah.
So for all of you scholars out there, right? Like, you know, really this is the story of Judas, right? And Jesus, like, you know, the was it the Last Supper? I'm saying the scholars, and I should know it pretty much verbatim. Yeah, but he turned his back on them, right? Like, Jesus sat there and said, you know, there's going to be somebody that, you know, betray me, and he knew exactly who it was, and it was Judas, right? And you know, so that's where that's the origin of this story of like, or that statement, like, if they did it to Jesus, what would they do to me? And the last thing I would say here is like, look, guys, even from the Alabama, what are they calling this?
The Montgomery Brawl.
The Montgomery Brawl to, you know, Jennifer Aniston and Jamie Foxx creating this conversation this past weekend. It's like, we got to be aware of what we're saying, but we also got to understand that, you know, from culture to culture, things can be different. So we got to continue to educate ourselves. We got to be intentional in learning, you know what I mean, about each other. You know what I'm saying? Like I respect you, Woo, because you're from Jamaica. Like, there's certain things that, you know, you guys do that I didn't grow up doing, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And I got to respect that. And I can't be judgmental, right? But we got to do the work to understand the why behind these things. So hopefully, you know, this serves as, hopefully it's thought-provoking, and it pushes all of us to continue to educate ourselves.
Yeah. All right. Well, unfortunately, we're out of fight news, but we have some news out of the WNBA, right? Ashley, did you wanna share this news?
Diana Taurasi becomes the solidified GOAT, if you will. She's the first woman in WNBA history to reach 10,000 career points. It was such a historic moment. This is the first time, like I said, that the WNBA has seen this. She was given the name the White Mamba by the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant. And it's not only a monumental moment for her, I think it's a monumental moment for the league, because it shows that these women are capable of breaking records and making history, just like we celebrate the men for. Yeah. So, you know, not too much to go ahead and dive into that, but I just wanted to go ahead and give flowers and credit where credit is due. And once again say, if you are not watching the W, you are missing out.
Yeah, seriously. What I would say here is, I had an opportunity a couple years ago to go out to Phoenix, Arizona, where she plays and lives in the off season. I think she lives there in the off season. To Larry Fitzgerald's celebrity softball tournament, right? Mm-hmm. And that was the first time, I'd be honest, I was like, oh, this lady is a better athlete than me. Like Ashley, when I tell
I'm a
you
better athlete than
she
you.
hit the ball better than me. She fielded the ball better than me. We were out there, like I was scared to catch. Like I was in like center field. Her glove was just crazy. And I'm a wide receiver. Like I do this for a living, like catching balls, but that's what I do. Right? And she was out there just like making it look effortless. And that was the first time I was like, oh, one, I see why she's great at what she do because she was competitive and she just had just crazy skill. And I was like, yeah, she's better than me.
Yeah, she's the real deal.
Yeah,
The white
she's better than
mamba.
me.
Congratulations, Diana.
Yeah. Congratulations. All right, here we go. So, we talked a little bit about fighting. We celebrated. It's a roller coaster of a day. It was a roller coaster of a weekend. So you know what happens when you're on a roller coaster?
You throw up?
You seek mental help. You seek a therapist, right? Yeah, like.
Oh, you meant like a not a literal roller coaster.
Yeah.
Oh,
life.
Okay. I didn't get the reference.
Oh, just stay with me.
I thought you were talking about
metaphorical roller coaster.
Yeah, I thought you meant like
Right,
actual
yeah,
roller
right,
coaster.
right.
Throw up. Like, I'm
That's what I'm saying.
confused. Okay. Go
we
ahead.
love talking about, and I wouldn't say love talking about, it is who we are. Like all of us embrace mental health and advocating for mental health, and it just organically happened on this platform, and now it's just our lifeline. So I want to highlight a few stories here. You have Ricky Rubio came out this weekend with a statement and basically said that he has to walk away and put his mental health first, right? So I'll pull it up here. Just his statement. He said, "I've decided to stop my professional activity to take care of my mental health. I want to thank all the support I have received from the Spanish national team to understanding my decision." That's what Rubio said. "Today, family makes more sense than ever. Thank you. I would ask that my privacy be respected so that I can face these moments and be able to give more information when the time is right." So for me, I think we all have our own journey. We're on our own journey. And the reality is, and I know there may be some people in London or Canada that, watches our show, but in America alone, like, give or take a few million, there's 320 million Americans. And probably around 100 million Americans live with something. And for every one, you touch 5 to 6 people, okay? And so everybody's on a journey, and you're going to deal with something in your life. You don't have to be diagnosed. You don't have to live with anxiety, depression, or bipolar, et cetera, et cetera. It could just be a tough breakup. It could be some financial struggles,
It could be no.
Stress.
It could just be someone telling you no.
Right.
For something you really worked on.
And listen, athletes are human. They're just like everyone else. Bleed, cry, feel the same things, but they're under a different microscope, right? So like you got to think about the pressure an athlete is under. Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles, the Kevin Loves of the world, right? And I can go on and on and on. All these other athletes over the last 5-6 years that stood up and said, "I'm living with this, I'm dealing with this, or I overcame this," right? Every day, they have to perform at a high level. You can't hide, especially now, social media, right? There's TV coverage. It's about winning or losing, point blank, period. So you gotta understand, some of the struggles our pro athletes are under, and understand that it's different than, some people that just may live outside of the limelight, right? Because you can kind of hide, you can kind of get away, but not professional athletes. So Ashley, how does it make you feel, seeing more of these stories coming out these days?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think that it's important for people to recognize the signs and recognize when they're not okay, and the saying it's okay to not be okay, and not try to power through it and try to fight through it in unhealthy ways. If you need a break, take a break. I mean, we've seen this story time and time again, and we've seen it on both ends of the spectrum. We've seen how it can turn around for the better when you do take that break and you try to figure out what's wrong, what the source is, and you try to go ahead and get it together. And then we've seen when it goes ignored and the tragic way that sometimes ends. So I think that I'm very happy that more and more athletes are, taking the time to humanize themselves and not act like superheroes and not try to, carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. And some guys are able to, power through it in real time. You think of DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love, guys who were, recognizing their mental health struggles while still playing and were able to balance that. And then you have guys like Ricky Rubio who said, I can't do it. I need a break. He has the support of his teammates. I know Donovan Mitchell sent him a really nice message on Twitter. It says, I'm behind you, my brother. Like, take all the time you need. Yeah. And I think that the more that we have these conversations, the more open that dialogue is and the more it becomes the norm to take a pause. And I don't think that it's just in the sports world, even in what we do. Sometimes you just need a break. Right. Sometimes it's just... Nicki Minaj said something that was really... in an interview she did a few years ago, I want to say. I don't remember exactly the time, but she said something that really resonated with me because one thing I struggled with when I started to get in a position where more and more people knew me was just the constant criticism that I was under. That I could, but the criticism that I'm under that has access to me directly. So it's like people can criticize you behind your back, but if you don't hear it, it doesn't affect you. But tough. When you're on social media and social media is a part of your job, and being a public person is part of your job, now that criticism has a direct line of communication to you. So one thing I really struggled when I got to Sports Illustrated was dealing with that because it was. You can only be so strong. And I remember Nicki Minaj said something that she said, humans are not meant to be criticized. What you have the quote?
Well, it's around that same subject, but I don't think this is the same quote. She just said she needed a break after her 2018 album, and she said it was because she kept having doors slammed in her face, and she felt like nothing was working.
Oh, no, that's not the one I'm talking about. She basically said, in so many words, that humans are not meant to be criticized in that way. Like, you're not meant to hear that amount of criticism about yourself.
Yeah, it's tough.
And when you do, it's unhealthy. So one thing I really struggled with was managing that criticism and how to compartmentalize it. Because if you don't, it can eat you up. Right. And it can, you start thinking, well, maybe I am just here because they needed a girl, or maybe I am not good at my job, or maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And it can take a toll on your mental, your spiritual, and your emotional if you don't figure it out. Yeah. And I was somebody who really struggled with it and it really affected my mental. And I can only imagine when you're an athlete and you're in charge of wins and losses and people are critiquing every single thing you do. I know I feel that, and I know an athlete probably feels that times 10, which is why I'm so cautious in how I critique athletes and how I speak about athletes. And my career has always been built on the foundation of humanizing them first. And if I do critique them, it's never in a place of malice or disrespect, because people
or entertainment, because a lot of times they don't care. People that we see on our favorite shows and these different networks, it's like it's all about them. And that's when I lost respect for the traditional approach. Being on FS1 every single day and sitting there and seeing how they were talking about our athletes and our guys. But then like if I'm wrong, Ashley, and always call me out, keep me honest. Yeah. But if I'm wrong in real time, or maybe on the next show, I'll come out and say, yo, I was wrong. Like, meaning like what I said about LeBron, actually I was off. Or if what I said about OBJ, I was off, right? They won't do that. Why? Because they have to take integrity, right? Think about this. Their career is built off of, if what I'm saying, I need this to be true. So when Stephen A. Smith is going out there talking reckless about the Dallas Cowboys, he's entertaining, but he's not wavering from that. How the hell does Skip Bayless fix his mouth to talk about LeBron the way he does? Yeah. He's never said one good thing about LeBron. Think about that. The kid from Akron has defined the odds over and over and over again. Right now, you can go out there and say LeBron's not the GOAT, and we can have that discussion. That's healthy. But to go out there and say this man is a fraud, this man is this and that, why is he doing that? Because he's built his career off of that.
Yeah, I think for me, that's always been the difference, is that I will never shy away from critiquing an athlete within the realms of the game, because that's fair game. You go out there, you play a sport, whatever happens on the field, on the court, that's fair game.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a bad shooting average that game, that's fair criticism. If you go out there and you just stink it up from the field, that's fair criticism. If you drop a touchdown pass that could have won the game, that's fair criticism. And I think
But this is what I would say though, Ash. Sorry to interrupt you, but as a player, I feel like we have a different responsibility to cover the game. Cause like, okay, let's say D-Hop goes out there this year and drops a touchdown pass game winner. What I hate about athletes covering a game is like, he sucks, he stinks, he's that. And it's like, bro, how many balls did you drop?
That's what I was gonna say. Same thing with me. Like in my career, if you disagree with my opinion or my take, that's fine. But I think where the line in the sand for me is when you start calling people out of their name. When you start criticizing them in a way that's not within the realms of a game. For example, calling Westbrook is disrespectful. Calling somebody outside of their name, starting talking about their family, start talking about things that have nothing to do with what happened within 4 quarters of a game is not fair game. And that's where I've always had the issue. You know, calling Dak Prescott ass is not fair game. Like there's a way to critique people
a bum,
with
et cetera.
calling somebody a bum, calling somebody trash. Like it's not fair game. Like when people come to me and they say, "Oh, you're only there because you're a woman," or you slept your way to, like, that's not fair. That's not fair game. Like if you want to disagree with my opinion, that's fine. You want to disagree with my performance, that's fine. It's when you start crossing those lines and hitting below the belt that I have always had a problem with, and that's why I will never do that.
I do want to say this because we gearing up for one hell of a football season. Everybody out there watching, know that we got some special things coming, some contributors, different studio, different everything. And I'm going to be in my bag, Ashley. And
okay, as long as you don't call nobody out their name.
No. Hold on. Time out. Let me tell you, this is when I'll call somebody, like I'll go out there, is when it's like we've all been through things, right? And eventually you got to get it right. Okay. So for me, it took me 4.5 years to stop running into a brick wall, right? Okay, boom, I got it. All right. When there's an athlete out there that just continues to just do it over and over and over again, like make boneheaded mistakes and decisions, you'll see me go out there and get a little feisty, a little testy, right? Even like Baker Mayfield, like every year it might be one guy. Like Baker Mayfield for some time, like, bro, like this chip on your shoulder is not doing you any good.
But that's fair criticism though, Brand. That's not what I'm referring to. What like I'm referring to is when somebody says all the issues that Kawhi Leonard has dealt with in his career health-wise, and people call him broken, or people call Anthony Davis Mr. Glass. It's not funny.
Ooh.
Like the toll of constantly being injured takes a toll on your mental. Like people don't realize, like, what you say behind closed doors with your homies, that's your prerogative. But when you sit in a seat where you have a microphone in front of your face and a camera on you, it's a different level of responsibility. And you can't go out there and just say whatever you want about people for clicks and for giggles. It doesn't work like that. And if it does, you're an asshole.
And let me give you, here's the secret sauce, right? Like, you know, I Am Athlete, a couple years ago, we launched, boom. And people are like, how are you guys doing it? You know, and I tell the team all the time, like, you know, we know this is like, put the athlete first. We always protect the athlete. Here's why, like, Cam Newton comes on the show. He feeling comfortable, he's going to give us enough stuff that's going to go viral, be entertaining or educational, right? We don't need to go out there and pry. So how we do it as athletes is this. It's like locker room, right? Like we had these type of conversations. We just put in cameras around it. It's like Cam Newton. Some people going out there, oh, his arm is shot. Cam Newton can't throw the football no more. He's trashy. Like everything Ashley saying we shouldn't be doing. So this is how we do it as athletes. Bruh, what they saying is this. You know, what's the situation? You know what I'm saying? And he go out there and say, I'll tell you this. There ain't 32 quarterbacks better than me, right? And that goes viral, but it's like there's a way of doing it. And I think that's why people like ourselves and all the Smokes of the world, Gilbert Arenas, Pat McAfee is winning, because all we're doing is taking the conversation that we have offline and putting it online. And people are like, damn, this is entertaining. You're getting a raw, organic, authentic conversation.
But you know what, though? You as an athlete have a different level of leeway
Yeah.
to criticize another athlete because they know that you know.
Yeah.
There's a brotherhood and there's lines that you shouldn't cross. But you also are in a position where you can go a little bit further than I can in a critique because they know you know what it's like. You've
That's
been
right.
there. As someone who's never played a game of football, I can go ahead and analyze the X's and O's and I can analyze but there should not be a line that I cross because I haven't lived that life.
Right.
I don't know what it takes to go ahead and be a professional athlete in the NFL, the NBA, or the MLB. So there should be a level of containment that I have and how far I'm willing to critique something that I know nothing about
Right.
when it comes to the dedication and the injuries and the mental toll. You can speak to that.
Right.
So you may be able to have a little bit more of a raw conversation, maybe not so much of a PC conversation with a Cam Newton and say, listen, man, they out here calling you trash. Like, that's not the same for somebody like a Skip Bayless or a Stephen A. Smith. You guys have never lived that life.
Right.
So there should be a different level of respect that you have when you are addressing athletes or talking about athletes and talking about them within the realms of the game. It should stay in those parameters because you don't know what it's like to be on the other side of that.
100%. And this is what I'm going to say, and some people might call me cocky or whatnot. This is why I feel like we're in perfect position and we're going to be winning, right? Like what Pat McAfee's been able to do is, put positivity out there, have the banter out there, but not, demean anybody, break anybody down. So we're in position to win, and there's a lot of people in trouble. I'm not just saying I am athlete. I'm talking about athletes, doing it right. While we're talking about athletes, humanizing athletes, right, Ashley said it, right? Like you never know what someone's going through. You got to understand how powerful this engine is, right? Like just the NFL alone, a $10 billion industry, right? Multi-million-dollar athletes. We got athletes now making $500 million in a career. But then there's another side to that. Guys that are trying to survive, make the team, take care of their families, make their legacy stand. And so Johnny Manziel. And I know there's a lot of people not going to feel sorry for Manziel because, like, this is
Johnny
one of those
Football, as we used to
Johnny
call
Football.
him.
Like, you got to get it, right? There comes a point where you got to grow up, but there's a lot of pressure. So in a new documentary, Johnny Manziel says he attempted suicide after the Cleveland Browns cut him in 2016. And the Netflix Untold Johnny Football, that's the documentary. The 2012 Heisman Trophy winner said that following the 2015 season, he began using oxycodone and cocaine daily, according to multiple reports, and dropped from 215 pounds in January to 175 in September. Manziel faced misdemeanor assault charges, blah, 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 blah. I won't get into all of that stuff. The Browns cut Manziel in March of 2016. Manziel said in the documentary, according to multiple reports, that he was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder and he refused to enter rehab and begun self-sabotaging, going on a $5 million bender before attempting to end his life. What's not in this this article is that Manziel also said when he got that diagnosis of bipolar disorder, he thought it was like alcoholism or being a drug addict. Yeah. So he was like, my life is over, right? More stigma, more stereotype. So he said, I planned to do everything I wanted to do at that point in my life, spend as much money as possible that he could, and then his plan was to take his life. Manziel said in the documentary, according to multiple reports, I wanted to get as bad as humanly possible to where it made sense, and it made it seem like an excuse and out for me. Manziel said he purchased a gun. This is some deep stuff right here, man. And, I remember having Deion Sanders up on her show, and Deion asked him, I said, what was your lowest moment of your life? This is Deion Sanders. He was playing both baseball and football at the same time, Deion Sanders, okay? And he said, when I was in Cleveland playing baseball, and then I had a football game, and I had a shotgun in a hotel, and I was going to take my life, right? And it just, like, people are in these situations, and it's like, you're talking about a split decision that it can happen. And a lot of people think that suicide ideation is something that you fight for years, right? Like people who take their lives, like, oh, they must have been struggling for years. There are some people that deal with that, right, for a long time. But a lot of people that actually succeed with it, it's like 15 minutes. Just a thought for 15 minutes. My girl just broke up with me. My life is over. Boom. My man just broke up with me. I caught him. It's over. Boom. I just lost everything. Boom. right? So a lot of times it's just 15 minutes. So here's the last thing I would say to this, because this is really powerful. It's like, and I can't wait to watch this. I just watched the Jake Paul Untold on Netflix, and that was pretty good. He said, I had planned to do everything, right? I said that. Manziel said he purchased the gun months earlier with the plan to use it to carry out death by suicide. But when he pulled the trigger, the weapon malfunctioned. Still to this day, don't know what happened, but the gun just clicked on me, he said in the documentary, according to multiple reports. Man, like, Ashley, think about this, all right? Knowing that so many people struggling, right? Think about how many people right now is dealing with some of these same thoughts.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's like overwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I always liked Johnny Manziel. He kind of did his own thing. I never minded the whole Johnny football persona. It's a shame that it didn't, live up to what everyone thought it would. But I think that the telling thing is the gun malfunctioning.
Yeah.
It's like a sign from God, the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, that like you're not done yet. So like take a pause, regroup, figure it out. But that's powerful. But that's just one of the other reasons why. I've been criticized in my career for being so pro athlete, and how that's not, what a journalist should be. And the reason that I've always been that way is because of this. Athletes are people first, and I never want to be responsible for saying something and then, God forbid, you hear news about. One thing I don't like is when you see people who constantly criticize and hit below the belt and just are ugly in the way that they report on athletes, and then something happens, and then it's all that, and then it's suddenly thoughts and prayers. Like, you had the opportunity to be a decent human being when that person was here or before something happened to them, and you chose a path that was beneficial to you. And one thing I've always been cognizant of is not putting myself in that position, that I always lead with respect, even in my criticism, which is, again, always in the realm of the game. It's always from a place of just that. It's never disrespectful. It's never a place of malice. Like, nobody can ever say, oh, you hit below the belt.
Right.
If I criticize you, it's because you had a crap game. Right. But you can never come to me and say, I criticized you unfairly. I don't talk about people's families. I don't care what's going on in their personal life. I don't call people out of their name. It's just unnecessary. And I think that if we had more people in the media industry that were less worried about engagement and clicks and more worried about just being decent human beings in the way that they report on athletes, I think we'd be in a better position. And I think that the relationship between media and athlete would be a lot better than what it is. And I can understand why so many athletes don't want to deal with the media, because everything you say is manipulated. Hey. People don't really care about you. And I think you can see the difference in the way that athletes interact with media members who don't. People ask me all the time in my field, like, how are you friends with so-and-so? It's because I treat them as people. So if I sit down with them and I have an interview with them, they know that I'm not going to trip them up. I'm not going to, manipulate their words. It's going to be an honest conversation.
You tripped me up.
Well, that's just because I'm better than you.
No, you tripped me up. No. Time out.
Oh,
I gotta push
time
back.
out. That was
Tell
fair
the story.
game, Brandon.
No, ain't no fair game. Tell the story. Tell the story. This is when I knew.
This was fair game.
Listen, hold on. Time out. I'm gonna tell y'all this.
But I asked you nicely.
Hold on. Time out. Woo, this is when I knew. Right? I was like, oh, she's her. Right? I was so hot after this moment, like skin boiling, like wanted to stop, act a fool, be like, man, I'm done with this, walk out. And I sat there and I thought about it. I was like, she was fearless. And she's also doing her job. And she wasn't like, that whole fearless thing came to mind. I was like, I see it. But tell her about this moment, because you messy. You messier than me.
It didn't come from a place of malice.
No, tell him the story.
So I interviewed Brandon for my show Laces Out, season 2 of Laces Out.
And before you even get there, tell him that you was an hour and 30 minutes late. And then you try to lie and say, oh, it was on the producer. But go ahead, tell the whole story.
They gave me the wrong call time, but regardless, it does. It got the wrong call time, but neither here nor there. So I sit down with Brandon, and the first question that I ask him is about the breakup of I Am Athlete and the other podcasts. And he looks at me and he's like, So I said,
I've never been asked a question to this point.
The question was, I said it, this is exactly the way that I said it. It wasn't like mean. It was very calm and welcoming to answer it. I said, so a lot of people think that, you're selfish and that you went ahead and you blew up the situation with you and the previous members of this podcast. What happened? So just like that. And he looked at me like, this mother.
Yeah, I was like, but I was so hot that I was like, then I knew. Let me jump in here real quick. I think Marlon B. Burdette said no sports topics really. Listen, let me describe what paper route is.
We're getting into it. Don't worry. Corey has a whole rundown. I promise.
We'll get there. Here's the thing, right? Like we know that there's an opportunity in sports, right? We're bringing culture to sports. I Am Athlete lives in the intersection between hip hop and sports. If you right there, you riding that wave, you're a gatekeeper of culture, right? Like media is important. So these type of topics, you don't really see that discussed and really peeling back these layers and having these conversations. So that's what I Am Athlete is. So 80% of paper route, we get into sports, but then there's 20% culture and then these deep conversations. So continue to rock with us, bro. We about to get into some sports. And the last thing I would say here is, because they want us to get into sports, so we got to listen to our people.
Got it.
Ashley, you messy.
I am not.
You shouldn't have asked me the question.
You have some
It was
nerve.
the first question.
You start off.
Nah, because now me and Ashley, we partners now, right? So now we have Troy Aikman on or D-Hop on, like and Corey, right? You too. We bouncing stuff off. What does Ashley always say? She says, well, let's soft question first. That's what you just said about Troy Aikman. You said, Brandon, we got to ask him a soft question, ease into it. You didn't do that with me. Look at her face. Look at her face. She knows
She knew she was wrong.
She said
She said you can handle it.
And now you say you hard-hitting question for me?
No, sometimes I start. It depends on
Depends on the subject, right?
It depends on the subject, but it depends on the subject, meaning the person. Like you can get a gauge for someone's personality. Like a Troy Aikman.
No.
He's a legend.
cowboy.
You gotta stroke.
Oh, I'm not a legend
Hold
now.
on.
Oh!
That's what I'm saying.
Yo, it's
Ashley,
getting
just
worse.
stop.
That's what I'm
Just stop,
saying. He has
Digging himself in
multiple
a bigger
Super
hole.
Bowls.
Yeah.
He has the
Put the
gold
shovel
jacket.
down.
Like he's a little bit. You gotta.
I'm up.
Ashley,
I'm
put
up.
the shovel
I'm
down.
up for the gold jacket.
I know you are, but what I'm saying is like interviewing like Dan Marino. He's a quarterback. You gotta stroke the angle a little bit. Like you.
What about me?
You're from the hood. You'll be all right.
No,
Like,
that's all
okay.
I'm not
down.
a legend. Oh my
That's
goodness,
not
all
what I'm
this.
saying.
That's exactly what you're saying.
Exactly.
What? That's not what I'm saying.
See, that's it. She doesn't
What I'm
respect me.
saying is you can gauge someone's like demeanor a little bit more. Like if I was sitting with a Deion Sanders, I would have hit him with the hardwood first.
Ashley, put the shovel down, please.
That's not a shovel. It's you could tell
You're digging
somebody.
this hole so
You
deep.
can listen. What does Brandon always say? Start fast, finish strong.
Can I just mention this real quick, guys? I know we're switching, but I just want to let everyone know if you are suffering from any mental health, suicide, anything like that, they did change the number. The number now is just like an SMS or 911. It's 988, and they're available 24/7.
Oh, wow.
If you need help, ask for help. Be a helpline for someone else. That's all I wanted to say.
No, that's great. I'm glad you did that, bro. And then also this, I'll say this, right? Like this is a business as well. And so we've been very strategic on trying to find the right partners. We're not trying to make this a salesy thing, oversaturate our platform, lose our audience. We actually want to hear from you guys on like, how can we partner with the right people to give you guys things that you need? And so Woo, this is one of the things I've been working on for a very long time. I think that, this fall we may have a partner, and what I want to do is like, every week, every month, find someone in our audience that may be dealing with something and bless them with, free therapy, right? So I'm excited about that. I'm not going to give any more information right now because I want it to happen. And this is a big deal. We're talking about, $1,000 to a couple $1,000s a month. It's hard. It's expensive. So, if you're suffering like Woo said, speak. Don't be afraid to ask for help. The stigma around it, look, we all deal with something. And when I realized that, that's when it made it comfortable for me to walk in my truth. So that's that. Now we move on to sports.
Brandon, before we get to the last thing, Corey, about the funny trailer, we do, I don't know if our audience saw it, but the legend, Brandon Marshall, and also Adam Pac-Man Jones are eligible for the Hall of Fame in 2024. Bleacher Report put out a list of players that are eligible for the year 2024, and Brandon and Pac-Man are both on the potential ballot for 2024. They are Hall of Fame eligible, which is absolutely incredible. How cool would it be if you both got inducted at the same time?
I know. That would be dope, but I will say this. You know, I'm a realist. It's probably going to take, I'm number 15. I'm predicting that it takes 15 years.
What?
15 years.
Yeah, because like when you look at this, and I know we're going to have a conversation later on, you know, the Hall of Fame. Like we had 9 guys inducted this past weekend. Darrelle Revis being the highlight, DeMarcus Ware being the highlight. There's a logjam at wide receiver, and then also, I feel like my career, like I felt like I was a year away from solidifying it, like where it was
You
like
have
no
most
question.
receptions in a game. That record hasn't been broken.
I know, and there's some other
How many
things
years
as
has it
well.
been? 10?
But, yeah, but I would say this, like I felt like I needed to. I was close to finishing the top 5 in every category except touchdowns, and that was my goal. I was like, now it's undeniable. You can't take it from me. I don't care about what troubles I had, playing on 5 teams, 6 teams. I don't care about that, right? Like the numbers don't lie, but because like if you look at the numbers, and even as for other people like the Reggie Waynes of the world, the Steve Smiths, the Andre Johnsons, Torrey Holtz, there's a lot of legends there. And like you'll look at Steve Smith and be like, damn, if he had 2 more games and had like 10 more catches, he moves from 15 to 7, right? And so there's some cool things, and that's the only thing that keeps me up at night when I think about my football career.
Really?
And I think we talked about this on your show. You asked me this. Yeah.
And I was actually surprised
that's what you should have started with.
I was actually surprised because you said it wasn't not winning a Super Bowl that kept you up.
No.
Can we throw Brandon's stats up there for a second?
Dang, y'all got all this. Y'all showing me mad love. The stats at the bottom. I didn't see that.
I mean, come on, like,
wow.
15 years you think to get into the Hall of Fame with that? That seems a little egregious.
Your resume looks good,
15 years,
Brandon.
come
Yeah,
on,
I know
your
that.
resume looks real. Longest touchdown, most receptions in the game, 6-time Pro Bowl, 1-time All-Pro, 23rd all-time
modest,
receiving
bro.
yards,
Right.
3
83
consecutive seasons with 100-plus receptions, 900 receiving, over 12,000 yards, 83 touchdowns. I mean, 15 years to get into the Hall of Fame with those numbers would be insane.
Yeah, well, I'm blessed. This is amazing.
Clap it up. There you go. Clap it up.
That's dope. Okay, BC, I like that element. That was dope.
Well, I think it makes sense to just stay here in the Hall of Fame, right?
Well, RSF Morrow, the name Brandon can't say with a nice flow, says, B. Marsh, you are a legend and deserve
Absolutely.
Hall of Fame. My top 10. The chat's giving mad love. Nobody believes that it's going to take you 15 years to get into the Hall of Fame.
Well, think about it though. Like go ahead, Corey, and this probably will get me to like why I think that.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, I think we might as well just stay here at the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So Canton added 9 new members to list those names: Joe Thomas, Rondé Barber, Don Coryell, Darrelle Revis, Chuck Howley, Joe Klecko, DeMarcus Ware, Ken Riley, Zach Thomas. Oh yeah. And those are the 9 names there.
Beware the rare. My dad said, "Oh, Brandon, you gonna like this one."
Yeah.
My dad said those are better numbers than T.O. and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Hold on, your pops is in the chat.
He said right there.
Where?
Yeah, I see him.
Dad Moss says those are better numbers than T.O. and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I'm just saying. So
That's dope. Well, I would say some areas, but no, T.O. I appreciate that, Pops. But there's so y'all know I don't like T.O. That's the only athlete right now that I got beef with and I really talk bad about.
Yeah.
I don't like T.O., but I gotta respect what he did on the field.
of course,
Yeah, I gotta
but
respect
your
it.
numbers in a lot of categories are better than him, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So just put that into perspective. But go ahead, Corey.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of respectable names obviously voted in this year, but one was Darrelle Revis, and in his speech, he gave a couple players, their flowers. One was Deion Sanders, right? So he said, "What Jordan is to Kobe, Prime is to Revis's Island."
Yeah.
And I just want to get y'all's thoughts on that,
I
right?
agree
Is
with
that like a true, an accurate statement there?
Well, listen, we just talked about how we talk about the athletes, this and that, Ashley, and I like to get messy.
Well, he's saying that Sanders was the best CB, basically. Is that
Yeah,
what
but he's
saying, right?
also saying that I was the second best.
I mean,
That's what he's saying. So that's the question. Like, first of all, salute to Darrelle Revis and the other 8 for getting in the Hall of Fame. This is a big deal. This is the biggest achievement in our game, right? And for him to go in as first ballot, right? Like, this is a first ballot. Actually, I appreciate the love, team. I really do. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm not first ballot. I'll be honest with you. Now, do I believe I should get in a couple years? Yes. But the reality for me is that I think it's going to be 15, 20, maybe even longer. You got guys here that got in the hall and is not even walking the earth anymore, right? Yeah. So this is first ballot for sure. But is he second?
Is that what I didn't get that from what he said.
You didn't?
No, what I got was that he said what Jordan is to Kobe, Sanders is to me, meaning like Kobe
looked up.
Jordan was Kobe's idol.
Okay.
Well, not a mentor.
Correct me.
And a mentor, and he molded his game to be like Jordan, and Revis did the same with Prime. I didn't get that as like he's saying.
I think you're right because he said that if you look at the rest of the quote, I think he went on to say like, I modeled my game after him.
Yeah, like I feel like that's how I got messed up.
But do they really have similar games though?
No, I wouldn't say they had similar games, but they were both just locked down. Like Darrelle Revis. So let me answer. Like I tried to get messy. Ashley corrected me, got me back on track. I will say this: I think he was the second greatest corner.
Do you?
Yeah, and then if I feel like if he would have did it at that level longer, because when I really look at Revis' career, to me, like there was 4.5, 5 years where it was just like insane. You see those charts where it's like all the top wide receivers, the guys that's on these lists: Steve Smith, Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson. Those guys that should be already in the NFL. Ocho Cinco, right? All these got T.O. 30 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards. So I feel like Ashley, if he did it for 8 years, he would be better. He would be number 1 and Deion Sanders would be number 2. Like you couldn't get off the line of scrimmage on this guy. Now Deion was a turnover machine. Deion was an entertainer. Deion was lockdown. But Darrelle Revis, you think about all the top receivers, they can't even get 5 yards down the field, Ash. Like, dude had a legendary run. So
who are your top 3?
So top 3 for me, let me see, because like you got to go. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I thought people were starting to rank Darrelle Revis above Deion.
No, you can't do that.
There's people that says there's people in the chat saying Champ Bailey. We have
Champ. No, listen,
we have Woodson.
I like Charles Woodson, but then he's just a player. He ended up moving to safety. Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson. You got those guys. You got Mel Blount. So here's what I would go. I'm going Deion Sanders. I'm going Darrelle Revis, and I'm going old school Mel Blount. Okay. I like.
Mel Blount's a big dude, big corner.
Yeah. So those are my top 3. You asked for 3, so that's all you get. That's all you get because it's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
You would solidify Revis as number 2.
I like Champ. I like Charles Woodson.
I think that's fair because I feel like Deion was faster, but I feel like Revis was more like
stronger.
He was stronger. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, stockier. Well, no, Deion Sanders was. See, that's the thing with these guys, right? Like Deion Sanders put you in a chokehold too. Like, and that's what even Darrelle Revis, he's not a big guy for real. He wasn't a big guy.
No,
But when he got his hands on you, be like, damn, like, bro, like I thought I was 6'5", 230.
Right.
Somebody said Asante Samuel would have something to say about Revis being that high.
I know. You know what? We need to let's bring Zon on. Yeah. Let's get Zon on. Like maybe he'll zoom in and get his top 5. Like, yeah, Zon's thing is this: you got to be able to turn the ball over, and so. Zont should be in an NFL Hall of Fame.
We got some names being thrown in here. We got Richard Sherman. We have
Richard Sherman had a great career.
Ronnie Loft.
Ronnie Lott was a safety. Right?
Oh yeah, so Ronnie, I don't know.
Ronnie Lott.
Yeah. Somebody said Revis is from Pittsburgh. He's a legend out here too.
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Let's see if there's any more names in here.
Yo, shout out to y'all for supporting us during this time, building this show. Love you guys. Everybody to subscribe. You know, it's everything. You know, we're YouTubers. That matters. We need somebody to like, comment, subscribe, right? And then don't skip the ads. Don't skip the ads. We need the ad money.
It is really interesting, the process of the Hall of Fame when in comparison to the NBA.
Right.
I feel like the MLB too. The MLB's like Hall of Fame process is atrocious. But comparing the NBA and the NFL, it seems like you can be one of the best in your position and it takes you egregiously long to get in. Whereas in the NBA, once you're eligible, it's almost a shoo-in that you get in.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like once you hit eligibility,
you're in.
Yeah. Like, it's not even, there's no waiting.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, we're going to make him wait 10 years. It's like, at most, maybe a year, but like, you're getting in.
So Darrell Revis said that in a speech. Deion Sanders came around, tweeted, he said, yo, congratulations, and you are in the upper room. Why am I saying it? Because it's piggybacking off what you just said. Deion Sanders posed this thing basically griping like, yo, we're letting too many people in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right? Like we now need to move to a upper room. And I love Deion. If I pick up the phone right now, call him, he'll answer the phone in the middle of the field, middle of practice, right? Like he's been on our show multiple times, shows a lot of love. But OG, I push back on you right now. You know, I pushed back on you when you said this a year ago, a year and a half ago, and I push back on you now because I did the numbers. I'm like, yo, there's probably over 25,000 people, men, that play in the National Football League, strapped it up. And it's probably, you can't even calculate how many people tried, right? I'm not talking about dudes that went to the combine or had a trial. I'm talking about college students trying to get there but never even got an opportunity. So you can't even calculate how many people dreamt of being in the National Football League, okay? When you look at how many people is in the Pro Hall of Fame, fact check me here. I think it's like 370.
It's 371, and I double checked to see how many the NBA had, and it's 400.
Right, and there's less. Like
And there's less players.
Less
players.
Think about this.
Well, less players that would be Hall of Fame eligible.
Well, no, we got 32 teams and 53 dudes on the active roster, right? They got 15. Mm-hmm. So look at that.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah.
And
So
also, not every NBA player is Hall of Fame eligible. When you think about all the players who are, most of them are in.
So I brought up those numbers because that's less than 2% of the guys that actually suited up. I'm not calculating the people that tried play college football. That's less than 2%. So, like, when you think about some of these people waiting on this list, I don't get it. Like, why isn't Devin Hester, why wasn't he a first ballot Hall of Famer? And now this is his second opportunity this year. He didn't go in with Darrell Revis and Joe Thomas, right? Like, are you kidding me? You're going to make Devin Hester wait? Like, he was the best at his position. He changed the game. And now there was guys that came before him, the X, whatever. There's people like that. But Steve Smith, Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson. I feel like next year might be the year where you see this, and I'm predicting this. Next year, all those receivers get in together and with Devin Hester. That would be dope, right? Like, it's time for change. We brought up Asante Samuels. Asante Samuels can you please pull up his interceptions and where he ranked amongst all cornerbacks or interception leaders, or what is it called? Interception leaders. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where is he at? Right? Why isn't he in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of guys out there that's deserving of it, and it's just like we don't know the process. You know what I'm saying? And I try to bring this up with Ocho all the time, and Ocho never wants to have the conversation. You know. But, like, I feel like a guy like that, he deserves to be in the Pro Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Asante is number 32 currently with 51.
32?
32.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was that low, right?
Yeah, you got a guy named Paul Cross with 81, but that's from 64 to 79. And the most current is Rod Woodson with 71, and he retired in 2003.
So all right. So how many interceptions does Asante have?
51.
Deion Sanders have how many?
Let me see. 53.
53. Rondé Barber, who just went in this weekend, how many does he have? Rondé Barber.
47.
47. Who else is in a Pro Football Hall of Fame? Some corners that we know in our era, right? Like you see what I just said, right? He has 51. Deion Sanders had 53. Right. Rod Woodson's out there, legendary.
Yeah.
Who else got in recently? Ty Law. Let's look at Ty Law that introduced Darrell Revis.
Champ is in, right?
Yeah, and then let's look at Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey's in, right? Yeah, for sure.
Ty Law got 53 as well.
Got 53. How many does Champ Bailey have?
52.
52. Who else?
Yeah,
is there
right
anybody
there.
from the Cowboys that cornerbacks? It was Deion. He played there.
Yeah, he's.
What other corners that can, are,
Let's see.
somebody
Reed,
said they stopped throwing.
He's
Ed Reed's a safety, but you can look at Ed Reed. You can look at Troy Polamalu. You can look at those guys. Somebody said they stopped throwing to Prime. They stopped throwing at Darrell too. Ty Law is crazy too, yeah. So whatever. We can move on.
I did also, because I used to be a Dolphin fan. I want to shout out
Once
Zach
upon a
Thomas.
time.
Go.
I thought that was awesome. I used to be a big fan of Zach
He
Thomas.
said, I used to be a Dolphin
Yeah,
fan?
he
Used
switched
to
to
be.
go to the Giants. You didn't hear that
Yeah,
story?
how
Hold
could
on,
you
no,
not
I
sound,
never.
right?
I just thought he was always
Oh.
a Giants fan.
Andrew has no loyalty.
No,
he
no.
was once a Heat fan.
Yep.
Switched to the Nets.
Yep.
He was once a Dolphins fan.
He's saying, yup, proudly.
Switched to the
Very
Giants
proudly.
because the Dolphins kept losing and he was tired of losing.
My whole life.
Can you put a
Sorry,
camera
Cole.
on this guy, please?
Yeah, he has no loyalty. That's why I don't trust his fandom.
Crazy.
Hey.
Wow, he
respect
just
it.
said,
My
like, that
fandom is
just
over 20
shocked
years
me.
now.
Yeah, but you jumped ship. It doesn't count.
That just shocked
was
me.
a-
That was
I was a child.
blindsided. I was blindsided. He said,
I was blindsided
I
the
used
first
to be a
time, too.
Dolphins fan, so I do
Yeah.
want to give a shout out to
He did.
Zach.
I would
Yeah.
give him a pass if he jumped ship just in the NFL, but he did it in two separate sports, which is why I can't respect him. So,
Oh, wow.
Hey, it is what it is, man. Them teams was trash.
Crazy.
were you once a Marlins fan also?
Who?
Were you once a Marlins fan? Once
Oh,
upon a time?
I'm a Marlins fan now.
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
a
So
U
that
fan.
But they're
you-
trash
What's
too,
up
though.
to you?
And-
But
But they're trash.
Okay,
Both
but
are
they've
trash.
been losing.
Both are trash.
My goodness.
So why
They
did you
won.
jump
They
ship
won
with
in
them?
my era, '97. Marlins took
Oh,
that.
okay.
So
Just
that's
saying.
why. So if they
It was
win,
around 2000 when I started just being like, forget all. I don't need local loyalty. Like I don't need to do all that stuff. I can switch teams. It was around 2000. And the Marlins.
Nah,
Miami
I
native,
don't
y'all.
respect it. I don't respect
Yeah,
it.
Miami
Woo.
Gardens native
Literally Miami Gardens.
That's crazy.
and he jumped
by the
ship
stadium.
Right down the street.
by the stadium and jumped ship from his hometown team.
So this whole time, I'm thinking Wu from migrated from Jamaica to New York, and that's why he was a
No.
because there's a lot of Jamaicans. I mean, everywhere, especially in South Florida, but even in New York. So
no,
I'm thinking
he just
he's
picked
a
the squad.
wow.
Yeah.
Why did
That's
you pick the Giants of
crazy.
all teams, by the way?
See what I'm saying
So,
about this fickle
the
Miami
reason
Dolphin
why
fan
was
base?
because I was just happened to be following that year NFL. I had took like 2-3 years off, and then I started following that year, and the Giants and the Ravens was in the Super Bowl, and I really liked.
Oh, so you picked the team that went to the Super Bowl and said, you know what, this seems like a
Yeah,
safe
but
bet.
I also chose
Pick
the
one of the
loser.
two.
But
I
you
was
still
more
picked the team
impressed
that
by
was
their
good enough
game.
to make it to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
So you picked them once they made it to the Super Bowl and decided, I'm going to be a fan of this team.
Yo, everybody in the
During
chat.
But I mean, they happened to
Bye,
make it to the
Andrew.
Super Bowl, but
Shut your mic off.
I'm not saying I did
Boo.
it from the beginning of the season.
Tomato,
That's
tomato,
crazy. That's
tomato,
crazy,
tomato.
bro. Like Cam be saying on the show. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's wild.
Yo, can y'all jump in the chat real quick and tell me, is it crazy or is it okay? Is it crazy or is it okay? Hashtag crazy, right? Like I like to lean into it, right? Like we gonna, destigmatize crazy. Is it crazy or is it okay? Come on now. Jump in the chat now. Bandwagon. Chrissy say bandwagon. Oh, Andrew Ashley, Cowboy fan. All right, ain't nobody crazy. I'm saying.
Okay, but first of all, I've been a Cowboys
Crazy.
fan my entire life.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy,
yes, a
too.
Cowboys fan from New York. There's lots of us.
That's crazy.
No,
there's not.
Yes, there is a lot
Where
of.
do you lead the
I can
fan?
name,
The
like-
fan
I
club?
can name like 7 off the top of my head. Denzel Washington, a Cowboys fan, born and raised in New York. Jay-Z, a Cowboys fan, born and raised in New York. Charlemagne the God, born
I
and
never
raised in-
heard Jay-Z, and I'm a big Jay-Z
I ain't
fan.
gonna
Never
lie.
heard Jay-Z say I'm a
Jay-Z
Cowboys
is
fan.
a diehard Cowboys
just
fan.
Show me any
Just
proof.
now.
Fact check this,
Pull
Lou.
up the
Never heard
photos
this.
of him
I'm
at
learning that just
Cowboys
now.
game and him
And
in
did you
Cowboys
just say who?
gear.
Charlemagne the who?
Charlemagne's not from New York. He's from
Okay,
North Carolina,
he's
but
from
he's a
North Carolina.
Cowboys fan.
Okay, so take him off the list.
Take him off the list. Denzel.
That's it. And
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's questionable.
Jay-Z is a diehard Cowboys fan. Everybody knows
Nobody
this.
knows that. I don't know that, and I'm a big Jay-Z fan.
then you're not a big enough Jay. I will get literally Lenny ass on the phone right now.
No, we don't want that.
And he will tell me that Jay-Z is I've seen Jay-Z at Cowboys games and on the sidelines.
We've seen him at a bunch of NFL games.
Oh my God, I'm gonna pull it up right now.
That's crazy.
Nobody seriously. Jay-Z is a Cowboys fan. Whatever. I'm a Cowboys fan from New York. My daddy's a Cowboys fan. My grandpa was a Cowboys fan. It's legacy.
So, Mr. Jeff, thank you for the shout out earlier. You know what I'm saying? But everybody can get it, B.
Look,
ain't that how y'all talk in New York, Mr. Jeff? Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me talk to Mr. Jeff. Let me talk to Mr. Jeff. So, Mr. Jeff, okay, you gave me love. You said my numbers was crazy. I'm deserving a Hall of Fame. But what's crazier is you being a Cowboys fan from New York. That's crazy. And he from like New York, New York. Yeah. It ain't like he from out there in Long Island or something.
Queens.
Right.
Yeah, he from New York.
Here, look, ready?
Yeah. We can't hear it. Nobody can hear it. Go to the next subject. Go to the next subject. You can't hear it. You only get one shot.
Look.
I know I ain't really. I know G's messing with my Cowboys. That's the only person I know. I ain't really know anybody else.
Now, I'm a Cowboy fanatic, too. They always give me flack because they say I'm from South Carolina, so I shouldn't root from the Cowboys. How do you do it being from New York? And, you know, you got the Giants and the Jets. How can you be a Cowboys fan in this city?
I grew up, my pop is really my pop fault, you know.
How about them Cowboys?
Hold on. Keep going. I want you to hear this.
Those guys who, you know, wanted that whole cowboy lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Let him in with it. He got into a fight with some Jets fans. He's serious. Cowboys guy. He died hard.
That's crazy.
Yeah, have some respect. We international, baby.
That's crazy. I'm done with Jay-Z.
Fan of America's team. Have some respect.
I'm weak.
Sorry, that was the replay.
Listen, Jay-Z was always solid. You know, I think he just lost a lot of credibility with me.
You hate us because you ain't us. Go ahead.
Jay-Z don't care though. He don't even respond. He barely responded to all the rap beef he had. He don't care. Dame be out there talking about. Why Dame keep talking about Jay-Z?
We roll deep, baby.
That is crazy to me.
It is kind of.
And you don't hear nothing from Holmes.
Every interview he's talking about him.
Like that's crazy.
You're listening to Paper Route on Sirius XM X. Damn, what's the radio station?
You're listening to Paper Route on Sirius XM Faction Talk Channel 103.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we're actually gonna go to break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about Ashley's Cowboys and their All-Pro guard Zach Martin in the current situation he is.
Jay-Z's
with his contract
Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Y'all
Jay-Z's.
That's crazy.
Denzel's Cowboys.
Denzel. We'll hit that when we come back.
But I also played for Pete, so I know.
So you feel, I mean, you know what, at the end of the day, bruh,
no, but
a nigga, we is.
Hold
on. So that's
don't paint the picture for
No.
Right.
So that's
first and goal with beast mode in the Super Bowl.
Hold on, he didn't get the ball.
And we throw a slant.
I like the call though.
I hate that. See, only a receiver. But guess what? A receiver that guess what? Malcolm Beasley said, "Thank you, coach." That dumbass.
Butler.
Malcolm Beasley. We call Malcolm Beasley. That's my dog, Malcolm Beasley. That's really my dog.
Yeah, he made one big play. We ain't gonna do that. But go ahead.
So what? You never answered the question.
I know where I bro on. But
You know what I'm on that
like you
demon
said though,
time.
at the end of the day, it's a football play. You feel what I'm talking about?
No, money. Don't give me that.
But the thing is, you feel me, like I told you before, I'm humble, so a lot of people, when they hear that, they won't think that. When it comes to the play call, and that was this type of situation, I'm boiling. And the only thing I could do was think that I need to get in his face. Because, yeah, Pete. So then what happened is, you in that mindset of like, should've gave me the ball, this, that, and the third. But then what it let me do was, it really got me the opportunity to see how people really felt about him. So when I walk in that building, you feel me though, that was a level of respect for me. That was like the highest level of respect to the point where we at the peak of our careers, you feel me though, with the opportunity to go ahead and start a dynasty, and then we fumbled the bag on the 2-yard line. And now it's really helping, you feel me, with that business. Now them deals coming in, and now people, oh yeah, man, they should have gave you that ball. Conversation started, oh, okay, well, what kind of business you do? Oh, I got this, ooh, oh, okay, well, yeah, how, you know what I mean? How I wiggle myself up in this little thing right here, player. But now it's just you feel me, the capitalizing.
So as I said before the break, we're going to talk about All-Pro guard Zach Martin.
No.
The
Redeem
Cowboys.
yourself. What channel are we on? Go ahead, redeem yourself.
Oh, that's what I'm doing?
Yeah.
You're listening to Paper Route on Sirius XM, Faction Talk, Channel 103. See, I can do it. Yo, I might have like too much saliva in my mouth. I don't know. I'm making excuses for myself.
Whoa.
Here we go.
Whoa.
Now I throw out a pause moment. Huh?
Yo.
Whatever.
I'm not judging, Corey.
So yeah, All-Pro guard Zach Martin is getting a hole burned through his pockets right now by the Cowboys. It is reported by Calvin Watkins of Dallas News that Zach Martin is up to $500,000 in
lot
fines.
of money.
It is said that Zach Martin is getting fined $50,000 each day that he doesn't report to camp. Guys, how do y'all see this ending? What's Zach Martin's what's he gonna do?
I'll keep it short and sweet. This is problematic. Jerry, I don't know what you're doing, but you're not playing smart. I say that because the protection of your quarterback, the longevity, the health of your quarterback this season depends on if Zach Martin is in the lineup, right? So for me, I understand maybe what Jerry's saying in terms of other positions needs to get paid, and Zach Martin, he's been paid a lot. Okay, whatever, that's fine and dandy. But what's your alternative? It's too late in the season to try to replace him and get someone caught up. I mean, too late in the preseason, rather, to get somebody caught up into what he already knows how to do. You've made all these adjustments to the defense. You've made all these adjustments to the offense. Dak Prescott, you don't want him out there throwing interceptions. What you do to prevent that is give him more time to make smarter decisions, and you do that with protection. I'm just very confused on why Jerry is so comfortable gambling with Zach Martin to prove a point. I understand that maybe he's playing hardball as leverage, and maybe he's hoping that Zach Martin will get so tired of losing money that he just shows up, and then that's how they'll go ahead and restructure the deal. But I feel like it's also a sticky situation because if somebody is willing to forego $500,000 in fines,
Right.
they're kind of serious about where they stand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
We're not talking about 500, 5,000, 50,000. We're talking about $500,000 in fines. He doesn't seem to be budging. So if this is going to be a Saquon and the Giants situation, a game of chicken, like the only person who's losing in this situation, obviously Zach Martin's losing money, but Dak Prescott is losing because it's like if I'm Dak, every single day I'm in training camp and I don't see Zach Martin on the field, I'm like, yo, Jerry, what the hell? Like, what are you trying to get me killed out here? Like, what are you doing? Like, help me. Help, like Kevin Hart says, help me. Help me. Right. So
help me help you.
Yeah, so I'm very confused on what the end game is here. But I don't like it.
Okay. Ashley said she was going to be quick.
That's all I got.
Was that definition of quick?
No, that's all I got.
But that wasn't quick.
I mean, it was like 60 seconds. That's all I got.
That was not 60
Yeah,
seconds. That was like 60 seconds.
I started
times
at
4.
127. It's 128.
How you, for real?
Yeah. It's
no way.
Yes, it is. I look.
Was that 60 seconds, Woo?
It did feel kind of like 65.
Whatever. It was like 60 seconds.
It wasn't
that long. Like 3-4 minutes.
No, it was like 60 seconds. I watched.
Maybe 120.
Okay.
Maybe 120.
Okay. I'm done, though. That's all I got.
He said maybe
120. Let's put a clock on it, Shelly. Let's see. See if she hit.
Oh my God. Go, Brandon.
Now you want to clock your speed.
Listen, I'm not close to this story, right? Shit, I don't have any insiders, or anybody inside the building for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Personally, not a big fan of Jerry Jones. Like, I can't say that. But I don't know how I feel about Jerry Jones. So I say that because, like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. In these negotiations, there's so many conversations. There's so many things happening. They're literally looking at this every single day, right? Like, every single day, the Cowboys, from Jerry Jones to his son, who's, I believe, is the president but general manager. I don't know who runs
his daughters in the film.
All of them.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the update on Zach? Every morning, what's the update on Zach? What are we doing? Have you talked to his representation? Have we heard from Zach? Should we call Zach? Zach's looking at the same thing. What teams are calling? Where's Jerry? Are they moving? Are they budging? It's a game. And so you don't know what's happening, right? Because tomorrow he could walk in and sign a big deal. But I don't see that happening because Jerry Jones came out publicly and said, Zach Martin, you hit this already, Ashley. Zach Martin has made a lot of money over his career. He's been paid handsomely, right? And we have to pay other guys. Micah Parsons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Even they just paid Malik Hooker, their safety, $24 million, right? So everybody else is getting paid but Zach. And so, Ashley, when I look at this, here's what I believe will happen. You're right. $50,000 a day, that's a big deal. He's dug in, right? Like, he's like, yo, I got my feet planted. I'm not budging. I'm not moving.
Unless he's banking on the fact that if a deal's made, he gets that money back.
You can't anymore.
Oh.
So the new CBA took that out. So, like, teams used to be able to do that. Teams used to be able to say, look, all right, let bygones be bygones. They can't do that anymore because of this reason, because that's what usually happens. So here's what I think happens. Zach Martin retires, maybe come back next year. But I don't think he's playing for the Cowboys without being paid. And then also, I believe that there's a real possibility that he gets traded. Like, if I'm Jerry Jones, Ashley, I understand Zach Martin is him. Zach Martin is one of the best, not only one of the best offensive linemen in the game, but he's one of the best offensive linemen ever. Like when Joe Thomas just went in at left tackle. Joe Thomas had a legendary run where he went like so many games in a row, not missing a game, et cetera, like just straight bookend left tackle. And they put this number up of like guys playing so many snaps, you know, being able, not giving up so many sacks, et cetera, et cetera. And there was like 5 guys on the list, all Hall of Famers, or 6 guys. The 6th person who's still active was Zach, right? So, yes, he's a Hall of Famer. One day he will be, but I think they move on. I think Jerry Jones trade him, and they go younger because you can get some good offensive lineman play if you do it right. Like, you can have a guy that comes in and, you know, you can protect him. Or Zach Martin retires. That's what I think happens, Corey.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, moving on. We're going to hop on the X app, a.k.a. Twitter, and see what was on the timeline, right? So over the weekend, I don't know if you guys saw this, but quarterback Carson Wentz posted to his page. He says, hey, I'm back in the lab. But in this picture, he had equipment from all 3 of his former NFL teams. He had the helmet of the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles. He had the practice jersey of the Washington Commanders, and he had the shorts of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, B, if you're a GM, are you giving Carson Wentz another chance?
This is tough for me.
It's a hideous tattoo, by the way.
I saw the tweet where okay, let's go. Eagles gave him $80 million. Didn't deliver anything but a nice 2018 run where he was going to be MVP.
Talk that talk, Brandon. Let's go.
The Commanders gave him 22, and like the Colts gave him like 23 or whatever. Dude had a hell of a year, a hell of a career when they talk about career earnings. All right. I don't know why I wanted to highlight that, but I thought it was a cool tweet, right? But here's what I would say. It's hard for me, right? Because think about his greatest year, 2018. This dude, nobody was playing the quarterback position like him. Nobody was lighting it up. He would have been unanimous MVP. Come on, stop hating, Ashley. He would have been. But he tears his ACL week 11, week 12, right? And then that's when your boy Nick Foles came in, still led the way. They won the Super Bowl. After that, he lost everything. He lost the locker room. He lost his confidence, right? And then his ass was out of there. Who was the offensive coordinator during that run? It was Frank Reich. That's how he got to where, Ashley? To the Colts. He goes out there, stands on the table, and says, like, I know this guy. I can get to this guy. That's why Frank Reich's ass was fired, because he stood on the table for him. They paid him. They thought he was going to be the guy. They're a quarterback away from like really owning this division. So I say all that to say this. If I was a GM, would I give him another shot? If Frank Reich, the guy who saw you at your greatest, with you every single day, know you on 2 different teams in 2 different locker rooms, if he doesn't go out there and sign you, because now he's the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He didn't come sign him and say, come be the backup to my guy. He didn't do that. What is it, Bryce Young there, right? Because C.J. Stroud is the one in Houston, right? He ain't go do that, Ashley. He went out there and went and got Andy Dalton. So to me, that's I think a lot of general managers looking at this like, man, if your guy don't sign you, then why should we? But I like this when it comes to Carson Wentz, Corey, because this is what Carson needs to do. I talked to him last year. I was in the locker room, and dude's just too serious, too uptight. And a lot of athletes are like that. Like a lot of guys, they go out there and their careers is on the line. You know, everything gets tight, and they don't perform at a high level. And I was like, bro, you need to relax a little bit. So this shows me that he's actually relaxing, making fun of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm back to work. It feels a little different. He has all 3 freaking teams representing. I like that from him. So maybe he's going to play a little looser when he gets his opportunity.
That's funny you said that. He kind of strikes me as like a character, no? He's not that in person?
When you say character, what do you mean?
What kind of character?
Well, no, just like somebody with personality,
Like
a jokester, yeah.
No, bro, no, he's not that relatable. That was part of the problem in Philly, where it's like he was just had like 2 or 3 guys, and it's just like, no, he's just serious. He just wants to, no knock on this, but it's just like, just God.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to talk about. He wasn't talking about that. He couldn't relate to you. And I love God, love Jesus, but you got to be able to relate to guys. You got to be able to sit down with dudes that went to the strip club last night and they talking about that.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to be like, well, it's uncomfortable for you, but you got to find a way to still talk to him.
Yeah,
Josh McCown did it, and he was a freaking legendary, leader and big time Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Got to find a way.
That makes sense, I guess, of that tattoo that Ashley's not a fan of.
I just 2 things. One, I'll never forget and forgive the people who said that Carson Wentz was better than Dak Prescott, because how'd that turn out? I'm just going to put that out there. And 2, I just feel like, how many more opportunities does Carson Wentz need to show you he's not that guy? You know what I mean? Like, this would be his 4th team. Like how many more opportunities does he need? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Insanity's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Like, okay, you gave him a chance after Philly because of the injury, and you thought, okay, maybe it was just, a series of unfortunate events. Go to the Commanders, he's not good. You go to the Colts, you go ahead and you rally for this guy. He's the guy, he's the guy, he's the guy. He's not the guy.
Not the guy.
Okay.
Not the guy.
I mean, we can go ahead. We can go ahead and give him a 4th opportunity, but I'm 99.9% sure he won't be the guy there either. Like,
So
if you're the general
manager, do you not give him an opportunity, but would you put him on your roster as a backup? Like, the dude was going to be the MVP in 2018.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda only counts in horseshoes.
So what are you going to do? Are you saying no? You're the general manager.
Maybe like a 3rd string.
Third?
Here's the thing, because a backup quarterback still, I think people underestimate a backup quarterback. A backup quarterback still needs to be able to win you games if your quarterback goes down. We have seen it happen before.
Facts.
So it's basically an extension of QB1. So if I go ahead and sign Carson Wentz as my backup quarterback, I am saying that in some capacity, he is on the same playing field as my QB1, to where he can go ahead and pick. Hold on. Meaning he is an extension of him, that he can go ahead and carry that load if something were to happen to my QB1.
Mm-hmm. Man this shit for a couple of games.
Is he that quarterback anymore, or was he ever? Maybe once maybe he was the Eagles version of him, but the Colts version, the Commanders version, no. I don't think he's backup quarterback material.
So I would give him a shot at backup, right? Because there's some trash backups. I would do that. Wouldn't sign him as my number 1 guy, because I do believe he can come in, right? Like, let's say, one of the QB1 goes down. What you're looking for is like, okay, we got 6 games without QB1. Can you get us 3 to 4? Just don't mess it up. I think he can get that done.
I mean,
because, it's so hard. Like, he's seen so much football. So the game is slower for him than it is a guy that just came in the league and don't have those reps. He has that experience. So, Ash, let me ask you this question real quick.
Before you answer that, before you go into that point, my question is, if you have seen him as QB1,
yes, right,
and he's not good,
yeah,
okay, let's take the Eagles out of the equation. That was 50 billion years ago. Let's look at his last 2 teams, the Commanders and the Colts. Not good, okay? What makes you think that he, as a backup, is going to be able to win you games if QB1 goes down? I'm confused. We're not talking about a quarterback who in his last 3 teams had a substantial amount of success. It's just that times change, they draft younger, things happen. We're talking about a guy who has not seen any success since he was a Philadelphia Eagle, and he didn't even win that Super Bowl.
It's a good point.
So exactly what makes you think he'd be a good backup?
Great point. So let me ask you this. Skylar Thompson, backup quarterback for the Dolphins last year. Who is he? What has he done? Bailey Zappi for the Patriots. Who is he? What has he done? Case Keenum. He had some interesting moments coming in as a backup. To your point, Casey Canton and held it down. Actually became the starter, right, and got him into the playoffs. Marcus Mariota. Okay, Ashley.
Mariota had his moments.
Ashley, debatable, but let's not debate it.
He had his moments. I didn't say he was over.
I ain't gonna put Tyrod there
because he had his moments.
PJ Walker for the Bears. All right. Mike White came and did his thing for the Dolphins. Tyler Huntley came and did his thing for the Ravens.
Okay.
Sam Darnold. Ain't he Carson Wentz?
Yes.
Right, but I like Sam. I actually think Sam's going to do well. He's with the 49ers right now, and there's a lot of commentary coming out that Carson Wentz lighting it up. Like the dude throws a special ball. Cooper Rush, he came in and held it down a couple.
Cooper Rush was nice.
But is he?
But you're naming guys also that's not a fair comparison because they've always been backups.
But that's my thing. But don't you think him as a QB1 now the pressure's off him, now he's back up? He can't come in?
What I'm saying is that we're talking about guys who have only ever been backup. So the expectation for a backup is different than what it is as a starter.
Okay.
What I'm saying is if you could not carry the load of a starter and that's all you've ever been,
right,
and you've never had success as a starting quarterback, why do I believe that you being a backup is going to be any different?
You just said it, though.
No, but you can't compare it to guys who have only ever been backups.
You said it. Less pressure. It's less pressure. Like QB1, you got to like.
Is that going to change his skill set?
I think so. But here's the other thing, though, Ashley. Do you believe that people can change?
Oh my God, we're getting that. Like,
I'm just saying. Like, what if it's like, hey, lost my confidence. Got a little case of the yips. He was in a terrible situation as the starting quarterback. The Commanders.
Twice, rather?
Can we even name the offensive coordinator of the Commanders last year? Right? Like, think about that. You understand? Like the Colts situation. You go back there. He actually was balling, then he got banged up.
I'm sorry. If
he started the season on one foot. So now you go back and you can be like, you can kind of tell the story like, yo, I can see how that year with the Colts, it was bad because his foot, he started off on one leg, and then the Commanders. So now we put you at QB2. We believe you can come in. If our quarterback goes down 5 games, I think you can win 2 to 3.
I'm sorry. This is the same NFL, and the chat's reading my mind right now. This is the same NFL.
The chat's on your side?
They're reading my mind right now because what I was going to say, this is the same NFL who said Cam Newton couldn't be a backup quarterback in the NFL. That question. Carson Wentz can get out of here.
That's a whole nother conversation. I was going to ask you.
I'm not buying
That's so good, Ashley.
I'm not
I was going to
buying
ask you.
it.
So who do you take, Cam Newton or Carson Wentz?
Cam Newton all day. You're trying to tell me that Carson Wentz is primed and ready to be a backup quarterback more than Cam Newton is?
But here's the thing. This is what I will say. I'm on your side there. There is, the black quarterbacks come in, and it's changing a little bit over the last year and a half. Very recent. Black quarterback, you're either a starter and a star or you're out of there. There's no career backup quarterback. This is the best, outside of the kicking job, this is the best position in all of sports. You're holding a clipboard. There's guys making $6 million, $7 million for 10, 15 years to be backups. And so you got our guys like the Cam Newtons of the world that can't transition into that. It's either you're the starter or not. But you see the other guys, they get that opportunity. We gave you the opportunity to be a starter, or, did good there. Your time is over, but, we're going to put you in the backup. Hold the clipboard. It's not happening for our minority quarterbacks.
And also, I see someone in the chat mentioning Geno Smith, not the same comparison because Geno had all the talent. He just was immature. Carson Wentz is not Geno Smith.
Well, but that's why I said in the last year and a half, and now obviously Geno.
No, but I'm
look
saying
at how many years.
I'm comparing it. His immaturity is what held him back, not his lack of talent. Carson Wentz does not have Geno Smith's athleticism. It's not the same comparison.
Yeah, I room with the guy.
You want to know how long Geno Smith been?
Yeah, what year is this for?
This will be his 10th year.
Yeah.
I also wanted to shout out because it was kind of funny. The offensive coordinator was for Commanders last year was Scott Turner, and today's his birthday. So I just want to say happy birthday, Scott.
Yo, woo, that would be great.
Right.
Happy birthday,
I was like, damn.
Happy birthday, Scott.
Happy birthday, Scott.
That's a familiar name to me. I never heard of Scott Turner. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
This is a great day. Can you show some love to the people rocking with us, watching our show?
Hi, chat. We had over 400 people in the chat joining us today.
Where do you get these numbers from? I don't see these numbers. My number's always lower.
I'm
watching too.
I'm looking at it.
It's like you got like a updated version of YouTube.
I watched us hit 400. We hit 400
Yeah, we
earlier.
had over 400 at one point in the chat on a Monday. So we will be back tomorrow and then Wednesday and then Thursday for another exciting week.
Yeah.
We had some topics that we didn't hit today. We'll go ahead and hit those tomorrow.
Because you took too long on that one topic. You said you was going to be quick and you took,
I took
4
60
minutes.
seconds.
We're going to see.
I think 60 seconds.
Okay.
So yeah, tomorrow more football talk, maybe a little NBA talk, some things that we have in there. We also have to, I feel like this week we should probably test Corey's
I know where you're going.
nostalgia knowledge.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
nostalgia.
Can we like get some questions, like throw some graphics on the screen, and have Corey name what it is, like the objects, like stuff from like the 90s,
Yes.
the early 2000s, and let's go ahead and see how many Corey gets right
He lived
and
in
how
a
many Corey
bubble.
gets wrong. But we
He's
have
a
to take
bubble guy.
we have to take his computer and flip it around so
Is
that
that what
he
it-
can't
oh,
read
for
the
real?
chat because the
Oh,
chat
the
might try
chat.
to help him out. But we should have
like
we
this.
should have a segment this week where we test Corey's nostalgic knowledge
I like
because he
this.
didn't know what Showtime at the Apollo was.
Y'all gonna be pleasantly surprised at how much I know.
You didn't know what, Showtime at the Apollo was.
I knew what it was, but like
who
the
didn't he
little thing
know?
that
He didn't know who Shine was.
He didn't know who Shine was.
That's crazy.
No, but I think
Source
y'all gonna help
magazine.
me out by putting graphics up there because then I'm gonna know everything.
No,
like,
you're not.
It's
If
the
I just show you a
visuals. If
picture of
guys are just
Shine, you're not
throwing
gonna know
questions at
Shine.
me, then I'm. But if I
I
can
like
put
this.
the
We'll
visuals
We'll
on
test
do
it.
it. When you wanna
I
do
feel
it?
like we should do this tomorrow.
You want
Well,
to do
no,
it
you
tomorrow?
got to come up with a list of like 10 things.
I'll come up with a list of some things, and we'll test Corey's knowledge tomorrow. So you guys definitely don't want to miss tomorrow's
Belly.
show.
Here's one right now. Do you belly?
Belly.
Yes.
Yeah, this here, right? Your belly.
All
right, guys. It was a great show. It was a great show.
BC.
We love y'all. We love
BC,
y'all out
get
here.
him. BC.
And on that note, everybody, this has been Paper Route, and we
Stay
will
tuned for that
see you tomorrow. You don't want to miss tomorrow. Trust me. Bye, guys.
Yo.
What'd you say, belly?